is everyone? Just getting started here. Hola, how are you, Kevin? I really want to play music so bad. I know they're gonna shut my stuff off. Oh, let me stop. I know they're gonna shut it off. See, make sure I can be heard. Request. Wow. It should let you get on. Okay, yay, there you go. Hola, how are you? I'm
Hey,
excellent. How are you?
beautiful. How you doing?
Yay.
I am doing great.
You said what now?
Yes, you're looking great today.
Thank you, girl.
You're looking great today. Yes. Are you choosing violence today? Are you good
I
today?
choose violence
Are
every
you
day.
choosing violence today? Or are you good today?
I wake up every morning and just be like, violence. Yeah. Okay.
She says somebody says
Yeah,
save the live. I'm at work. Okay, she's gonna post it on her page.
no problem.
Yeah.
Kevin, are you having trouble getting in? Because I know I requested you. How's your day been?
We are. You know what? It's been great. I had a great day. I think I lost my dog though. She's not in the backyard. She be trying to get out of the backyard.
I'm so bad at that.
She's not there. So.
No, I'm like low key.
Yeah, I'm kind of sad. I'm kind of hurt. It's really my roommate's dog. It's my roommate's dog, but it's like my dog.
It's still some level of love there, like.
Yeah, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't see any
he said he requested to join.
Can you? Oh, hold on. I invited you, so see if that'll work. My day.
What about you? How's your day?
Yay! How are you?
There it is. Finally.
Hi.
Good. How y'all doing?
Doing great. We are so excited to talk to you, Kevin.
Yes.
So I'm trying these new headphones. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
I just want to let everybody know that
Dice
spearheaded this entire live. Okay, she made the contact. She was the one that was like, "We gotta get this brother on." And it's funny because like I think I saw a post of yours in my Explore page, but I clicked on it and I was like, "Oh, he going in," but I didn't know the backstory. You know what I mean? Yeah, I didn't know the backstory. I was just like, "Oh yeah, he's right." You know, and
okay.
I just like to kept going. I didn't know the backstory.
Yeah, you know, I saw his. I don't remember if somebody reposted it or something, but I saw that somebody had posted that you were doing a 30-day meat challenge. And I was like, oh, that's so dope. So I went through your page and stuff, and then I had saw the video that he had reposted where you were unaware of, you know, the certain, I guess you could say, deterioration. You know what I mean? And so I was just so proud to see somebody listen. You know what I mean? And actually take into consideration that, hey, they might not be opposing me, but they might be helping me. You know what I mean? So, you know, I just want to say thank you so much for having an open line. And also thank you for joining us. And thank you for being willing to share your journey.
Well, I appreciate y'all inviting me.
No, of course. It's amazing. And you know, I really get excited when I see men who are like, yeah, this isn't working, or just that they're willing to try the other side again. You know what I mean? Mostly because sometimes everybody thinks it's just the women just wilding out. You know what I mean? We're just being extra, and you know, and it's just like, no, this is more than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, because, you know, if you say, I almost died, they're like, girl, stop being dramatic. It's like, no, like, please, like, I'm telling y'all, like, this is not it. So we are more than happy to hear other people's stories because this can help so many people. You know, that's a part of the recovery journey is actually listening and hearing out other people's stories. I think that is a form of research that people like to belittle so much, and then they'll tell you to stop projecting. And we're going to get into if you received any backlash since you came out. We're going to get into that. But we definitely just want to go ahead and dive deep into who you are. How did you, or how long have you been vegan? And also, what made you vulnerable to veganism? Because we found that you have to have a certain level of vulnerability, whether it be searching for information, whether it be searching for your culture, whether it be a health aspect. So what made you vulnerable to veganism?
Well, I had a whole bunch of health issues.
Okay.
That's kind of what happened. You know, I had everything from like lower back problems, arthritis, blood issues, kidney problems. You know, we're all grown here. You know, ED problems, just a whole bunch of stuff. And so one of my friends actually suggested me, you know, listen to this. I'm not going to say any names, but this brother online. And you know, I was desperate, and it sounded good, and I got a lot of results from it. But as time went on, I started noticing things regressing and other things happening that wasn't there prior.
Okay.
And so to answer your question about how long, so I've been on and off since either 14 or 15. I would go strong for like 2 years, and I, you know, go back to eat meat, and strong for, you know, the last 2 years and some change. So that's kind of, and then so up to current, the last 6 weeks, I think it's been.
Okay. Okay. And when you received some of those other things that started to come along with the diet, did you reward those symptoms to the diet, or did you just think it was something else?
No, I just thought it was just something new or just something else. I didn't have the level of the information that I have today because I was so you know, laser focused on the herbs and the detoxing and trying to help other people because, you know, you get some result, you get a lot of results from it.
Yeah.
And, you know, realizing today that, you know, when you're eating plant-based, you're basically, you know, fasting with a little bit of nutrients.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
And you know, that's
so
why we call it, well, she actually wrote a book called The Vegan Trap, but that's why it's a trap, because it's like you said, you receive results at first. And since we have a very narrow understanding of true nutrition, those results kind of trick us into thinking that this is just the optimal diet. Like, hey, I had all these problems. Now look, I detoxed all
yep.
my problems away. So why would I go back to eating the way that I once was? And speaking of which, what was your diet before you went vegan?
No shellfish. I was eating mainly beef, chicken, no pork, lamb, goat, that type of stuff. But everything else, you know, sodas, energy drinks sometimes,
Okay.
a lot
I
of
apologize.
coffee. No, go ahead. Just the basic
I'm curious to
diet,
know
you
if
know,
you didn't eat
standard
pork
diet.
Standard
and
American diet,
shellfish
yeah.
because of any religious or spiritual belief. I think I kind of know.
Yep,
It's either one or two.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly what
I
it
knew
is.
it.
Yeah, I
Somebody.
was into like Hebrew Israelites. Yep.
Yep.
Yep. I actually, so on a side note, and I'm gonna let you take the lead back, but I wanted to say the other day when I came on the live and I said I saw
Okay.
your video, I was talking about you, Janelle. I saw your video where you talked about how you were vegan for 5 years and you listed everything.
What?
That's the video that caught my attention.
Okay.
Yes, but a friend of mine, Monique, she's actually on here. She's the
Whoa!
one
Shout out to
that
Monique. That's what
suggested
I'm
it
talking about.
to me.
Let's go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's on here
Oh, okay.
deliberately Callie. That's her name.
And
Yeah.
that was after you started the 30-day meat challenge, correct?
No, it's
No?
all on
Okay.
her. She's the
Oh,
one
okay.
that.
Please.
So can I talk about what happened there? Are you ready? Okay, so I was doing my vegan thing, minding my business, crazy, you know, posting all my nonsense videos. I'm gonna call it nonsense videos.
Okay.
We all
And
did.
Sean Baker, he took one of my videos and posted it on his. Yes. So listen to this, right? So it's a Saturday morning. I just wake up and my notifications is just going crazy. I'm like, what is happening? So I look at my phone and it's like 150 messages. I'm like, so in my mind, I'm like, yes, one of my videos went live. I'm like, yeah. So I click on the video and I'm like, what is happening? I mean, everybody is just in my mind talking trash. So I'm deleting people, I'm talking trash. And then in the midst of all of that, Monique caught my attention and she says, hey, listen, you know, can you, if I send you some stuff, do you mind looking at it? I was like, sure, you know, whatever, I'll look at it. And I started looking and I'm like, oh, but then when I watched your video, I was like, hey, I'm experiencing some of that same stuff too. Like my scalp was really dry and flaky. My memory was starting to get like
Yeah.
really bad. Just a lot of stuff that I could relate. So I was like, man, okay, I'm gonna look into this stuff
Get
some
out of
more. So that's
here.
kind of how it happened.
Wow, I had no idea. No, shout out to
Yep.
literally Callie though, because she was on here the other day saying how she was like she got cursed out by her sister. but but I'm glad you know took the helm and was just like and didn't. I'm glad you had the, dare I say, the balls to be like, you know what? Let me not take this in a way of just like they just coming for me. Let me check this out. You know what I mean? Like let me actually dive into this and see what's going on, because oftentimes, especially when you're really committed, you tend to just be like, oh, I'm a martyr. Like you know what I mean? Like I'm that person to really go in and look what I'm doing for the culture. Look what I'm doing for this diet or whatnot. So I'm really, shout out to you. I'm proud of that. I respect you for that.
So I'm not gonna lie though, because when I started listening and reading all the stuff, and when I realized, because I'm an analytical person, I'm a thinker. If it makes sense, I'm like, okay. I was like, man, I'm in trouble. I was like, I got to sit here and tell all these people that I was wrong. So that was like an internal battle, right?
I'm so proud of you, though.
So I was like, I'm just going to put myself on a 30-day challenge and just tell everybody, hey, I'm going to try this thing for 30 days. So that's kind of how it happened.
That's it right there. People are so afraid to be wrong. And it's like, we are all human and we are prone to error. And not only are you wrong, but there are thousands of people that are wrong and influencing more thousands of people to be wrong. So I think that is so important to do what you did, especially as an influencer, to step up and say, hey, y'all, I just stumbled upon some information. You know what I mean? We're going to do this challenge and I'll document this. So I'm just want to applaud you.
I would like to know, though, what was your energy and your strength and your mood? So your energy, your strength, and your mood when you were vegan, what was that like for you?
Man, I would be like, yeah, I'm going to go to the gym today. My energy was very low. I was hungry all the time. So I was literally telling somebody today, like, so I would go to work in the morning at 6:45, 6:30, I would eat my breakfast. And by like 8 o'clock, I'm like, man, when is lunchtime? I'm hungry. Always drinking a bunch of water, always thirsty. And like I said, my energy was low. I've been going to the gym almost every day. Well, working out, I just started going to the gym, but working out almost every day since I started this challenge.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah. And so, and then, the memory thing, like my eyes started getting bad. My memory was kind of shoddy. It was a lot.
Mood fluctuations? Like maybe you were a little irritable or short-tempered or anything like that?
No, I can't say that part. I just don't like to be messed with. So if somebody mess with me, that's different. But no, I can't say that I was moody at all.
All right. So what made you go to the 30 days was actually the video that Dr. Sean Baker posted. That's what got you. Was it, because I didn't see the video, so was it like just like a vegan deterioration type of video, or?
He took one of my videos and posted it on his page. Yeah. So literally, when I clicked on the link, I saw myself playing on the screen, and it was like everything was double. And I'm like, I'm just waking up, so I'm trying to figure out like what's happening. But then when I look in the comments, it took me like maybe an hour to figure out what was going on. And finally, I'm like, okay. He posted it on his page, and these are all his goons coming after me.
Yeah.
So I told him that. I was like, your people are dedicated. They were like wolves.
And you know what, though? I see them really encouraging you, though. Like, I see them really, like, supporting you on your journey. You know what I mean? So, again, it's like, it's good that you didn't think that they were just attacking you, even though some of them probably were.
I did think they were attacking me.
Yeah, I'm sure, but, I'm happy that you took the time. And it probably even hurts you know, it probably hurts to see like, oh dang, like, is that how people perceive me, or is this, you know what I mean? But it's so good that you took heed and you go ahead and did that 30-day journey. So we got to ask you, what was it like when you first ate meat?
Yeah.
And what meat did you eat?
I ate some beef and
Shout
what
out
did
to
I
you.
eat? I want to say beef and potatoes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You went to the beef.
Yeah, I ate some steak and potatoes, and I felt, you know how like in the movies when somebody gets electrocuted and then they just like get all this
Yes.
energy. I just wanted to like punch through a wall. It was like I just got this burst of energy.
Yes.
And I was like, oh my God, this is, I've been starving.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. That's what everybody feels like as soon as you eat the meat. Like, it goes to your brain. Beef in particular goes to your bones. It warms your body. You know what I mean? And it's like every single ex-vegan, when they eat meat, they will tell you the exact same thing. It's just like electricity just going through your brain. It's like you're coming to life, and you immediately understand that you have been starving yourself.
Yes. Your brain was like, and that's what Janelle was saying in her video, and my brain was like, dude, thanks, man, I appreciate it. Like every other day, it's like, hey, man, I appreciate you. Thanks.
Yes.
You know?
It's interesting because I've heard before that, you know, obviously your gut, or you know, your your gut is making has these hormones, and that state laid hands on you, definitely, and it produces like happiness, I believe, like serotonin and whatnot. When I had beef for the first time, I think I actually had lamb, and then I had beef. But anyway, I had red meat, and I actually felt happy. Like, literally, I felt my body smiling, like, from the inside. And it was just the best. I literally was just laying on the floor, like, staring at the ceiling, just, like, smiling.
And it was so sad because I had nobody to talk to. I'm like, I just wanted to, like, tell everybody, like, you guys just feel so good, but I would have sound crazy to everybody else because they been eating meat. So, you know, it's a beautiful feeling, honestly. It's like, it's just like, oh, it's like you just come to life. You know what I mean? Like, you just come to life. It's an amazing feeling. Yes, they're your vitamins. Somebody basically said meat, eggs, and butter are your vitamins. Yes.
Yeah.
And somebody said that you looking like you're glowing now since you first started. You definitely are. I noticed that too. Like, your skin is definitely coming back to life. Like, I've definitely noticed that. So
yeah, I didn't notice it until everybody kept saying it, but probably like the last week and a half is when I actually noticed it. Because, you know, you don't really see yourself the same way other people. But I just started noticing it probably about a week and a half.
Yeah. And you know what? It's so crazy. It's like, it didn't hit me until a few months after I started eating meat. Like, when I look back and I looked at myself, like, it hurt to see myself like that. You know what I mean? Like, it really hurt me to see myself like that. And but yeah, you're looking great, and I'm so glad that your recovery is going well. What are some other things that you noticed since you've been eating meat?
Strength, energy, not fatigue, not, you know, I don't get as fatigued as I used to. I get home and I just do stuff. You know, before I would sit in my recliner and I'd be like, let me just sit here for a little bit and relax, you know? Yeah, exactly. Even like my recovery time, when I go to the gym, you know, I can work out a little bit more, and the next day I'm fine. I hit it again, you know?
Yeah. You know what's interesting is that when
go
vegan, especially athletes who are newly vegan, they always claim how they have a faster recovery time and everything like that. And, you know, I'm always curious to be like, is it because you're no longer eating junk? Because oftentimes play happens, you know, where you cut out all the junk, and then you're actually eating, you know, things that aren't basically killing you. And so then you feel better, and you attribute it to being vegan or whatnot, because it's just like, since you said that, I know for sure that I'm a biomechanics practitioner and trainer, so it's like meat training was just different. I felt, and I wanted to ask if you felt this too. It's not like an aggression, but it kind of, it's like a drive, like a certain force comes back in you when you start eating, especially red meat again. Did you feel that?
I did. It's like, I don't know, you want to fight? Like, what's up? You know? But yeah, it's definitely different. Somebody said, why some vegans look and feel healthy and others don't? I believe it's because each body is different.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think it's my personal opinion after experiencing both sides. I think it's some of them eat a lot of junk food, even though you're eating vegan food, but it's processed food. There's big healthy vegans, and well, they look healthy, and also how it depends on how long they've been vegan.
Yes.
Because
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
But also, you guys have to check out our last live. If you don't have a trained eye, you can't really spot all vegans. People's body types can really fool you. So if you really pay attention, it's going to be from the collarbone up, and a lot of the deterioration is going to be found in the face. Also, as far as I believe it's because each body is different. No. We are all humans, okay? Just like if two people each had a pet snake and you feed one snake a mouse and then another snake a potato, like it's not going to go well with the snake that's being fed a potato. Like it might wake up every day, but it's not doing well. It's like a sock pillow, you know what I mean? So, we have basic foundation basic fundamental we have a very basic fundamental structure. Now, some people might have allergens, some people might have sensitivities, but it doesn't change how our body was designed to function. So, yeah.
And too, it depends on like how it also too depends on what they ate prior to being vegan, as well. Because some people just have a different, and when I say different, I mean more so unique. Not necessarily that they aren't human, but it's just some people's baseline is different. You know what I'm saying? In the sense of they ate differently. Some people were eating like total trash before they even went vegan. So you see it. You know what I mean? That those behaviors are what creates a lot of differences too. However, I do agree with Dice. You can really always spot it, because if you don't see it in the body, you for sure are going to see it in the eyes, the teeth, and the skin. It's going to come out in some way.
Yeah. So somebody said the collarbone. That's me. I hope I gain weight soon. You will eat steak, boo. Eat steak, eat butter.
And rest.
And rest. Yes. Yes.
That's something that I have to start doing. I don't rest as much. I be having so much energy and so much to do that I got to dial it back just a little bit and start getting a little bit more rest.
Yeah. I understand.
Isn't that interesting? It feels like you're a battery being charged when you eat meat again.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know, what other meats have you eaten, and what experience have you had with it?
So I've eaten salmon, shrimp. I haven't done any pork or duck or anything like that, which I want to try some duck. But that's to the extent. It's just beef, fish, chicken. I think I've done some lamb, but that's about it.
Do you feel any difference with the different foods at all?
Beef is obviously the best. Steak is obviously to me, but not necessarily. No.
Okay.
I know for me, and for what a lot of people experience, like salmon in particular, fish, like you feel it tingle in your brain more than necessarily your body. Whereas like what a lot of people would experience with steak is like your whole body warming up, like warming from your bones. You know what I mean? Feeling the circulation coming back to your body. So we were just trying to see if you felt any difference between them. I know chicken for me don't really do much for me.
No.
Isn't that crazy?
Okay, you too? Yeah, it doesn't really do much. I mean, it fills you up and it's like, okay, cool, I'm getting some protein, but it's not, you can tell that it's not nutrient dense. You know what I mean? You can tell. But same with
I agree.
shrimp was cool, I guess, but it's kind of the same with shrimp for me.
That's interesting. When I ate salmon for the first time, as some of you know, because I've said it before so many times, it felt like, because that was the first, fish was actually the first introduction back into eating, because it was just the first thing around me. However, I knew I needed like some really fatty fish, and so I got some salmon, some sockeye salmon, and when I ate it, it actually felt like fluid was running through my body, which is interesting because the beef felt more like a rush of energy and like blood, whereas the salmon felt more like just a fluid, like just a fluid going through my body, like oil going through my body. And it was just a very interesting difference, because when I ate the salmon, so before, and I don't know what this was, my practitioners don't even know what happened, but I felt like a pop in my brain before, like maybe towards my last 2 weeks of being vegan. It was like a pop, something just like in my brain. It felt just like that. And I was like, oh, that can't be good. And when I ate the salmon again, it felt like the pop unpopped or something. Literally,
wow.
that same spot went again. It was quite amazing. And I was just like, whoa. And after that, it felt like a release of just like fluid was going through my entire body to a point where I was just like, whoa, what is happening? I don't know. Are these the parasites? What's going on?
Right. Like, what's going on? Yeah, a lot of people are
Parasites.
saying the same thing about chicken. A lot of people are saying, you know, they don't really care for chicken anymore. Chicken is a waste of stomach space. Somebody said that they're obsessed with fats now. Same. I am too.
Okay, so this is a great question. How's sleep been since 30 days ago? The quality of sleep.
I don't think I haven't really. I'm a lot warmer now, so all the covers are gone, and you know the shirt's off and everything. But I think the sleep is pretty much the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Somebody said, what about bone broth? How do you
Good.
feel about? Have you had bone broth?
I have. I've made it a few times.
Okay. Okay.
I
Chicken
used to love
liver.
chicken.
I have yet to try liver.
You say what now?
I have yet. Somebody mentioned chicken liver. I have yet to try organ meats. So.
Me neither. I haven't tried it yet.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, y'all! I'm telling you, organ meat is a different game. It feels no, for real. Organ meat, especially liver, whether it be chicken liver or beef liver, it feels like your feet are literally rooted in the earth. Like it feels like it goes roots into the ground. I can't even explain it. It's just very grounding. It's the same way that beef. I don't know if y'all felt this, but when I ate beef for the first time, it felt like a wind hit me in my chest and just like settled me.
Yeah.
You know, I really felt like I was maybe leaving my body spiritually, or just I don't know how to say it. It just felt like a wind hit my body and settled me and brought me back to like reality. And that's how liver feels when you eat it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I'm having so. My memory of liver as a kid is not good, you know, being forced to eat it. So I still have that in the back of my head, but I know now as an adult, it probably would be, totally different.
Well, I have a nice liver recipe video on my YouTube, so check it out. Because if you eat it with some nice mashed potatoes, oh my gosh, it's like delicious.
I'm going to try out your recipe, girl. Somebody said they definitely got a real high from raw beef liver.
Yeah, it is. Raw beef liver is good too. I know Omar likes to chop it up and throw it in the freezer and just take little pops of it every day. So.
Oh, wow. Okay. He's the OG with it. Okay.
So someone says, as an ex-vegan, they don't like chicken either. You know, it's interesting that literally all the vegans ex-vegans that I talk to generally stop liking chicken as much, and it's just like red meat.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, like obsessed with red meat. Like I'm going to fight to the death of me. I don't know why they have demonized red meat. No, it's the Beyonce of meats. We're not gonna say that.
It's definitely top notch.
Yes. It just you feel the nutrients. You just understand just how dense of nutrients that is found in red meat. You know what I mean? And you also start understanding that mushrooms can never compare. Okay, never compare to meat. And it's just, how did we fall for that? You know what I mean? Because it's like, it's getting all of the intelligent people. That's the craziest part. It's like literally getting all of the intelligent people. And it's like we're falling into something that makes no sense. What would ever make us think that we could replace chicken with cauliflower or steak with mushrooms? Like you can't do that. You know what I mean? Plants are plants and animals are animals. So,
But it shows the power of psychology, right?
Yes.
I've been studying a lot on, different books and stuff about psychology, the power of the mind and stuff like that. And marketing, and you say something enough times, you present it a certain way, and it becomes, people believe it.
Yeah.
And when you get unhooked from the psychology, you're like, man, I was really dumb.
Yeah, I was just following the leader, and it's like it's getting all the woke people, and it's like y'all just sleepwalking. You know what I mean? Y'all are just following the conscious path or the conscious leader or the woke path. You know what I mean? And it's like it's an aesthetic for some people, and it's like if your friends or if you have friends that fall into veganism, it's like you want to be a part of the crowd. You know what I mean? So it's like there's so many different ways to fall into this, and not even question the thoughts that you have, because it's like, there's no way you're eating a Beyond Burger and thinking this is okay. You just go with it. You know what I
Because
mean?
you
It's like,
hungry.
yeah,
you're
because you're
hungry.
hungry. And it's just like, there's just no way. There was a couple times where I was eating like, it was like Beyond sausage, and I knew it made my stomach hurt. But I still ate it because I just wanted something that tastes and felt like sausage. Like, I wanted some meat. And so I just didn't even question it. I'm like, oh, well, it's plant-based. And it's like,
Yeah,
eat a sausage if you really want a sausage. You know what I mean?
true. Someone says the way that many of us have gotten caught up as intelligent people, especially as millennials, is insecurity of our knowledge base and the need to be approved of in our education, if that makes sense. You know, I would say that it was a combination of the religion or spiritual path that I was on at the time, because of the whole, like, at that time, it was like I don't want to say everybody who follows that thinks that, but it was just kind of like, you know, well, Adam and Eve, you know, they said that the leaves and the fruits and the vegetables for the meat and all, you know, so that kind of thing. So that got me caught. That's what really allowed me to say, oh, okay, because before I wasn't with it. But because of what I was into at the time, it really inspired me to say, okay, well, I can do that because I see validity in it for that. You know what I'm saying? And oftentimes with either religion or spirituality, you don't need confirmation of logic, if that makes sense. Like, you don't need logic.
No.
You can just get with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what really got me. And then I was like really young, and so all I saw at the time was the fact that the people that I looked around, like my cousins and like my parents' generation, not my grandparents and my great grandparents, because they always had great health. However, just like my parents' generation, I started to see like my uncles and aunts maybe not be as healthy. And so you see the diseases around you. And so you're just thinking to yourself, and then you see the community as a whole, and you're just like, something's wrong.
Yeah.
Something's
and
wrong.
Then you see, and then you see people who are like, oh, I have a solution. It's because we're eating this way, and we're eating this way, coupled with Black trauma from enslavement, you know?
Yeah, and all that rhetoric.
And it all just blends in together and makes this perfect soup of just like, well, I'll be vegan, you know?
Exactly. And for me personally, as I spoke of before, I was kind of going down that route. And of course, I had all of that in my ear too, all of that rhetoric that we speak of, the trauma, you know what I mean? Just everything. And so when COVID hit, I was fearful. And so since I was fearful of COVID, there was no logic there. I was just like, okay, everybody's talking about boosting your immune system, you know, CMOS, all this other stuff. So I just went with it, and I didn't question it because I was scared. And I'm like, I want to be healthy. You know, it was my way of kind of taking control of the uncontrollable, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? I was trying to just, you know, I don't know. I was just trying to prevent certain things and not second guessing about what I was doing. And in the long run, I was hurting myself trying to, all in the name of health. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's kind of how it slipped in for me. So everybody is vulnerable to a certain degree, because there's no way that you fall for this. Because there's people who think about going vegan but never actually go vegan because that nothing makes them, it's like no vulnerability there. You know, some people want to lose weight. Some people have skin issues, whether it's acne, whether it's eczema. You know what I mean? Some people just fall into it just trying to be long and fit into a crowd. You know what I mean? Just that longing of identity. You know, identity is something that's huge. People have a hard time breaking away from that identity of being vegan. You know what I mean? It becomes who we are, you know? And then, you know, religion, as you said, and just all these different things. So,
well,
no, it makes sense.
Were you saying something?
No, I said it makes sense.
Okay, yeah. And Sue, think about this though. We're saying that, I'm not, I never have a problem saying how dumb I was, like, or naive. I just never have a problem with that. I'm totally fine with it. You know what I'm saying? I don't have a problem with that. You know, it's other things I've never been dumb in, and this was just not one of them, you know? However, think about this now. People now, especially in the news, they're pushing plant-based. They're pushing canola oil. They're pushing vegetable oil. They're pushing all this instead of saturated fats. And so it's kind of just like, we bit the bullet earlier. And so we got to go through it and then come out on this side to see both ends of that. Yeah. Whereas now, everybody, for the most part, from that I can tell, is looking to prevent disease and illness in some way. And so now everybody is kind of like being conditioned into plant-based and being herded into that avenue.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, that's true. In the pandemic, no, go ahead.
No,
No, you got it. You got it.
The pandemic also was a big, instrument because a lot of people were at home on YouTube and Instagram, and that's all you saw: vegan this, vegan that, plant-based. You see all of the reels that go through and the ads and stuff, and it's like, so it caught a lot of people's attention.
Yeah. I describe this as a self-induced, contagious eating disorder that's being spread by influencers right now. And, when you go on your phone and you just going and scrolling through your timeline, all you see is vegan recipe, CMOS, meat is bad, Dr. Sebi. It's just like all these you're just programming yourself. You're just brainwashing yourself. And it's just such a beautiful, like when you see the colors of all the fruits and it's all juicy and stuff, it looks healthy. And so then they show dead animals and it's like, oh, you're eating that? You're eating from the morgue?
Right.
So it's like they really play with your emotions. They play with your intelligence. And marketing is a very powerful tool. Very powerful tool. I even went to the grocery store today and it was like it was the biggest section of plant-based meats I have ever seen in my life. Like, I've never seen that many. I'm like, wow, it's really starting to get bad. Somebody just mentioned Kim Kardashian is pushing this on purpose and she doesn't even eat Beyond Meat. She doesn't live far from me. Yeah, no, the celebrities definitely play a huge part in influence. That's marketing. Yeah. You know what I mean? Some of our major, especially in the Black community, a lot of our major health gurus have been pushed through our musical artists. Yeah. You know what I mean? So people idolize these people and they're like, oh, well, so-and-so mentioned this person's name and so-and-so has been following this person's regimen. So they must be the holy grail of health. And so now we have these idolized people in our communities that you can't even speak on. You know what I mean? You can't even question their knowledge without people being ready to jump down your throat. You know what I mean? So,
a lot of them are opening up restaurants and stuff too.
Facts. And, that's how people get trapped in that too. Their livelihoods depend on veganism. You know what I mean? Their businesses, their brands. It's a hard thing to go against, even if you come across this information. If this is your livelihood, if this is your means of survival, you'll still push it just because you need to eat. But doing things like this, doing things like what we're doing, what you decided to do, just being honest, being integral about yourself and other people will go a long way. You'll always gain respect being honest about people's health, you know what I mean? And helping people, like always.
Yeah, I've always been that way though. Like some of my friends like, man, you switching up again? I'm like, yeah, because that's some BS,
Yeah.
That's just my character. If I learn or I find out something's not right, I'm just gonna do what I need to do.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, what I learned through some of my trauma and childhood issues and different things is that other people are gonna do whatever it is they want to do, right? So why am I worried about what somebody thinks or how it's going to affect them? I need to do what I need to do for myself. And in return, if it affects other people in a positive way, that's even better. But at the end of the day, you can't, we got to get over people.
Yes. 1,000%. Yeah. Like I was telling Dice the other day, I had no idea that those little videos that I put up would even reach anybody, really, because I only had like 100-something people on my YouTube at that time. So I was just like, but I gotta tell everybody. Like I gotta tell everybody because you just feel so good, and it feels almost like criminal not to tell people what you're going through, and especially me at the time. I was definitely training and an influencer in that space, and I was just like, I cannot just know that. Wow, look at my face, look at my body transforming before my eyes. How I felt. It's just like. When I first started eating meat again, I was still on the rocker of like, should I be doing this? You know what I'm saying? And then I was just like, wait a minute. Look at how you felt when you introduced that meat back into your body.
Yeah.
There wasn't a walnut in sight. There wasn't an avocado. There wasn't even the CMOS. Nothing made me feel like that. You know what I mean? Nothing made me feel like that. And then obviously too, losing your menstruation will make you think twice too. So I was just like, you know what I'm saying? I was like, yo, something gotta give. And so I'm just really thankful that your character is one that, you felt the urge to tell the truth, because the next question I wanted to ask is, what made you feel like it was important to share this journey?
because I was doing the opposite, and I was thankful for all the people who decided to say something to me, right? Because I know a lot of people naturally came because Dr. Sean shared the stuff, but also, I mean, they seemed genuine. They were like, listen, okay, so this is how I knew this stuff was legit. I blocked somebody,
Yeah.
right? She sent me a message and said, hey, I like your information. Listen, my friend wants to follow you and, see what's going on. This is her name. And I was like, yeah, I remember her. I blocked her. And he was like, can you please unblock her, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, wow. So when I unblocked her, she told me thanks. I was like, man, these people are serious.
Yeah.
So when I started learning all that I'm learning, I'm like, yeah, I gotta tell somebody. I gotta, put myself out there, and it is what it is. I was wrong.
Yeah.
That's powerful. It's a powerful statement to make. And it's also, like I said, very honorable and very respectful. And we're all wrong in some way, and I think that it encourages people to be okay with sharing their truth, no matter what other people say. Because like you said, people are going to talk, people are going to say what they want to say.
Right.
However, you have to go with what your body is telling you.
So it's Carnivore Fitness. She's on here. She just said,
okay.
haha. So it was her. Yes.
You say Kevin.
Yes. She's been very instrumental too.
Wow. That's amazing.
That's
and you know what, too? It's just like, when you've been vegan before and you've been down to your very last point and you're just like, man, something is wrong. I don't know what it is, but something's wrong.
Yeah.
And then you have people who are like, hey, I'm not even trying to come for you. I gotta give you this truth. Like, I gotta offer this olive leaf, this olive branch to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Do you feel any sense of depression or anything?
No.
No. What about?
So I think one of the things that helped me out though is that prior to this, I was going through some stuff, and so I was on the other side of, listening to motivational stuff, listening to inspirational stuff, reading a lot, just a lot of positivity in my life. So there wasn't any room. I was going to get what I needed to get from a me standpoint, right?
Yeah.
And so I didn't give myself the room for that.
Yeah.
Now, I could have, because there's a lot of other things that I'm not even going to talk about today, but I could have.
Yeah.
But I made a decision. I want to say it was like last August. I made a commitment to myself, and I made a decision that I'm going to be positive, and I'm only dealing with positivity.
Yeah.
And I stuck with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. That is great. That is great. And did you receive any backlash? Did you receive any backlash from your vegan friends or vegan followers?
So some of them definitely unfollowed me, which was to be expected, right? But one of the harshest comments, was not too long ago. Somebody was like, "You're not a visionary. You're a dumbass." I was like, "Damn, okay."
Wow.
I mean, she was just going in, but I mean, I knew it was to be expected. When you put something together in a simple way, right?
Yeah.
Like for instance, I posted a video comparing ruminants animals to humans, right? And when you look at the simplicity behind that, and you look at the common sense behind that, and somebody says that doesn't make any sense, you're like, okay, I'm not worried about that.
Yeah.
And so, I've definitely heard a few things.
Yeah.
Gotten a few negative, feedback.
You start realizing that, like, the vegans are not all peace, love, and light, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The vegans are not all peace, love, and light if you come for their fruits and vegetables, So I definitely wanted to just see if you had any issues with the vegans or any backlash from them.
The fact that somebody would take the time out of their day to comment something like that underneath a post is just like, something has to be wrong.
Yeah.
Because I feel so great. You know what I'm saying? I feel so great and happy that it's just like, if somebody that was like eating meat every day now were to just go vegan, it would not bother me. Not to a point where I
Right.
want to be like, you dumbass, and comment
Yeah,
on your
yeah,
post. You know what I'm
right.
saying?
Yep.
Right. Somebody said that there is a spiritual undertone to veganism. What's happening is the worship toward the animals and the misplacing of the importance of human life. Yes, a person will harm a person for eating animals. These are facts. You know what? I didn't realize when I first came out speaking on this, like how dangerous this is. But like some of these people are crazy. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to tell people they need to eat meat to clear up all the problems that they got going on. And people hate me. Like people really hate me. But you're right. They put the safety of the animals above the health of people, and it's like y'all need to eat some meat because something's not right. You know what I mean? Like something's not right up there if you going so crazy about me eating meat like everybody else. You know what
Yeah,
I
but
mean?
and they're not thinking about the rodents, the snakes, the
Right.
all the insects and all the different animals that need that area to live in, right? And they're killing them too.
Yeah.
So you don't really love animals. You're just following something that you think is right.
A
Yeah.
religion. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm glad you brought that point up because it's like I mentioned before, I come from a family that farms and gardens for generations on generations. And you clearing out land really does disturb the entire circle of life in that specific area.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes I find that even I mean, I wasn't like I wasn't just that. I just wasn't that kind of vegan. But you know what I'm saying? I just wasn't on that. Here's Nadeem. Shout out to you, because sir, you've come a long way. Okay, I remember when he was talking about he was being plant based, and I kept doing these vegan things, and now he's plant based. So shout out to you, sir. However, the divorcing of death from life is oftentimes what happens when you go vegan, because we see death as this is not a part of life. This is something else, and we don't want to do that. And that's, it's just like, that's a part of living. That is a part of what happens in this world. And when you look at traditional cultures, you find that there is a hunting society. There are rituals behind going to hunt. The men oftentimes would have rituals going to hunt, because that is it's just a very in tune thing to take a life. Kevin, you
Yeah.
want to say?
No. I almost dropped something. I was trying to catch it.
Yeah, it's a very in tune thing to take a life, and there's prayer that's done over that. There's a thanking for that. It's not just, oh, we gotta eat. It's like, yeah, we have to eat. However, nature gave us this.
Yeah.
We put time in to get this. We had to hunt this. Like my brother, he hunts deer and turkey, things like that. I just only know how to fish and like trap things and stuff like that. But he knows how to hunt, and it's like the way he goes and surveys the land, the way he goes and makes sure he doesn't have any scent, the way he goes and plants certain things so the deer can come and eat, and the prayer that's said over it and everything like that. It's so much more in depth than just this careless idea that you're just killing and taking life. You know what I mean? And I don't think they really understand that.
And all the vegan propaganda is going to be like showing you how the cows are getting slaughtered and tortured and rolling around in their feces. It's just like, okay, but ethical hunting is not like that. You know what I mean? It's not like that at all. Somebody has said, I briefly dated a vegan. He knew I ate meat about 10% of the time. He said, you eating meat 10% of the time is like raping 10% of the time. I dropped him in and he kept harassing me. Yeah, that's how they think. It's like, they'll say stuff like, how can you say that you're vegan, but you eat fish sometimes? You're not a real vegan. It's a lot of bullying going on. It's psychological. That's the thing about this diet. It's all psychological. It's all a brainwash. It's a cult. Like, it's like people literally will shame you for being hungry. You know what I mean? Like, they'll shame you for it, and they'll literally, like, look down on you. And then there's, like, this hierarchy, and there's this, like, this hierarchy of veganism. It's like, oh, I'm not a junk food vegan, or oh, I used to be a raw vegan, but now I'm a juicitarian. And it's like, there's just a lot going on, right? It's like, it's a code. Yes, it's a code.
Somebody asked about what about eggs?
Okay.
I love eggs. I need eggs. Every single morning I eat eggs, and eggs, I kind of feel it in my brain too. I definitely need it before I work out. I like eggs mixed with fish. Like, that combination in the morning is like the best for my mental function throughout the day. Like, I really love fish and eggs in the morning, and cooked in butter. So eggs, definitely. I can't give you the science behind it. I don't know, Johnny, you probably can do that a little bit.
What about you, Kevin?
I do eggs and steak in the morning.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
is a winner. I love eggs
Yes.
and steak in the morning. You know what I really like? I want to say this. Omar said this. Commercial agriculture is the death of entire ecosystems. It really is. It really is, and that's something too. You know, the difference between commercial and the natural way, or farming, even just farming. You know what I mean? Like the agriculture that farmers take on is just different than the way commercial meat industry, commercial dairy industry. Those two things are actually two separate things, and unfortunately,
It is.
can bring those two things together as though they're not different, and they are. However, back to the eggs. Personally, in the morning, I love raw egg yolks with kefir. I like to say it right the way Omar said it, because how you saying kefir out here sounding ignorant. Kefir, right? So,
You're not the only one.
yeah, kefir with raw egg yolks in the morning and a little bit of honey, right as I'm getting that rising sun, because it's like that light is really great for powering your mitochondria and resetting your tissues and things like that. So I like to do that in the morning, and that is just like, it feels like eating beef every time I'm eating it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm really thankful for that. The raw egg yolks are really great for hydration too. So, and yeah, egg yolk on a ribeye is delicious.
So I have never tried raw eggs.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm
just
ready
the yolks,
for it.
though. Just the yolks.
Yeah, I haven't tried it yet.
Okay.
Oh, I haven't tried it.
Try it. So let me see. Someone says, yes, every culture has hunting deities. Interesting that all the so-called Pan-African vegans forget that. Well, because the thing is that when it comes to that Pan-African thing, majority of them have never been to Africa. They don't practice any traditional African indigenous system or anything. They don't. Because I'll tell you this, when I went to West Africa and I went to Sierra Leone, I told them that I was vegan. I didn't eat meat. First off, they didn't even know what that was. Okay. They were like, why did you starve yourself for 6 years? That was literally their rebuttal to that. They were just like, why did you starve yourself? And I'm like, dang, I never thought about it like that. Yeah. But that's exactly what it is. And they don't do that. Like I said, a lot of the deities, and no matter what tradition you get in, you're going to have to sacrifice. You're going to have to spill some blood at some point. You're going to have to take that life of that animal, even if it's just to eat. It's going to happen. You know?
Yeah. And I'm happy that you said that, though. It's like, this is like a westernized thing. This is something that you can only do if you have the resources to do it. You know what I mean? Like, if we have, I'm sorry, veganism started, like 60 years ago, something like that. And then now, in the past couple of years, they made plant-based for the people who are doing it for the health, because originally veganism was for the animals. But now we're marketing it to be for health. So we need a new word, because veganism means that you are protesting for animal rights. And that's not what we want them to think it is. You know what I mean? So now they just made up a word, and that should be alarming all in itself. You know what I mean?
I even did that. I even stopped saying vegan. I was like, no, I'm plant-based.
I'm
not vegan. I'm plant-based. Like, what?
At that point, when I started talking like that, it was downhill from there, baby.
Yeah, luckily I didn't get that far. Mind you guys, if y'all don't know, I was only vegan for shy under 2 years, but I'm a very simple person. Like, if you know me, like, I'm a very simple person. So when people would be like, oh, so are you vegan or plant-based? I'm like, girl, I don't know. I eat vegetation. Like, I don't eat meat. You know what I mean? I don't get too deep into all of that. But that's how it is now. You know what I mean? And then, of course, it's like, oh, I'm not plant-based. I'm alkaline. And it's like,
yeah, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
There's like 5 different categories right now. That's 10, but 5. Y'all get it.
Yeah, it's amazing too. Like now, when I watch some of those ads and look at certain people's page, and they're like, "Yeah, come, let's go alkaline shopping," and they're showing all that stuff. I'm like, now it's like you see, like you don't get any nutrients from that.
Yes.
That's not bioavailable. You know, you're in your mind, you're like, man, I used to do that. That's insane.
Yes. Like when you look at people's recipes, it's like size now. Yeah, and it's like when you look at people's plates, you're like, yo, there is no nutrients in this dish. Nothing. No. You have made a pot of water and boiled vegetables. Like, this is nothing in here. And it's so sad because, do you have any children?
I do. Yep, I have a son.
Was he plant-based?
Sometimes, like when he stays predominantly with his mother. So when he would come stay with me, we would eat plant-based and stuff like that.
Okay, well that's great. But you know, there are a lot of women right now that's starting their infants off on a vegan diet. And this is one of the reasons why we felt like it was so important to be able to put this information out there too. Because you know, there's influencers out here telling women that they can replace breast milk with coconut water and sea moss. And it's just hurtful to see the amount of people who were reposting this information and who were really, you know, taking that as law. And it's like people don't even hear what people are saying. He then repeated, and I mean, he then followed that up by saying that a coconut is 2% away from a breast. And
Oh,
it's
wow.
like, yeah, and people they're not listening. You know what I mean? Like, did you hear what he just said? Like, you know, if you actually truly heard what he said and comprehended instead of just saying, oh, this is our master herbalist, this is our leader. If you actually listen to what he said, you will understand that this makes no sense. It's like we're losing all of our common sense, you know?
I wanted to ask you, Kevin, because you mentioned that you were vegan for 2 years and then you went back to eating meat. So what made you go back and forth?
So I watched a documentary called Forks Over Knives. That's actually what got me to go vegan the first time.
Okay.
And then in the documentary, they were like, well, you know, they did the test with the lab rats and stuff, and they were like, when they gave them like 5% meat, it turned on the cancer rate and all this stuff. And so I was like, well, I'm gonna just eat a little bit. And I went from eating a little bit to eating it all the time. And then, so then I was like, well, I'm not gonna eat this, this, and this. You know, I'll be healthy. Yeah. And then when all the stuff started trickling down, I'm like, man, my health is spiraling. And so that's when I went back vegan again the second time, and I got all of the, you know, pretty much everything reversed, which is because I removed the processed foods and the fasting and all that stuff. So, you know, but yes, so that's the reason why I ended up coming back on it.
Yeah. Okay. It's quite amazing that I find, and I've had a lot of people contact me in my DMs and ask me this. I find it to be interesting how, especially the vegan influencers, how when they do those before and afters, you know what I mean? Of like when I ate meat and dairy, and then they were like super bloated and overweight or whatever, and then now they're vegan and they like look all good supposedly. It's interesting that they were eating terrible. I mean, they were never eating like really well. You know what I'm saying? They were always eating terribly and then blamed meat and dairy. And I'm just like, how? When you were eating honey buns at 3 o'clock in the morning, like.
Facts. Yeah. And they always like to reward it to the meat. Like, no. It was everything else.
Yes, y'all, these people are compromising the health of the babies. They have underdeveloped jawlines and impaired brain function because of inadequate cholesterol, fatty acids. So sad.
Yeah, you can see it in their arms. You can see it in it's like their forehead kind of like does this little bulgy thing. You can see it in some of their eyes. You can definitely see it in the neck. It's just so sad. And it's like, I wanted to post some of them, but I'm just like, they're babies, you know what I mean? And they're just victims of their parents' delusions, you know?
Something else that got my attention too was in your videos, you know, when you were saying, you know, you personally knew, or you know other people who knows people who are pretending to be vegans, right?
Yes.
And, you know, they show all this stuff, but they really eat meat. I was like, you got to be kidding me, man.
Yeah.
I've been duped the whole time when these people, you know, and I'm looking at them and they look healthy.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at myself and I'm like, I ain't doing so good.
Yeah. That's
doing it right.
That is sick. Like, people literally, like, there's some influencers who will literally go through it, rejuvenate themselves, and still push this diet out to our people. And it's just sick. You know what I mean? Because like you said, you're looking at them and they're selling you this beautiful lifestyle and they looking plump and their skin's shining, and you looking at yourself in the mirror like, hold on, wait a minute.
Yeah.
It's not laying like that over here.
Like, I'm tired, boss.
No facts.
And have you gotten the you just didn't do it right comment yet?
Yes. Matter of fact, the guy, I mean, he didn't quite say that, but that's, if you really read between the line, the guy that I posted the comment of the other day, he's like, yeah, I've been vegan for, I forgot how long he said, plant-based for like 15 years or something. And I do this, and I don't know what kind of diet you on. I'm like, dude, whatever, man.
Yeah. That was the plant milk guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually quite scary. And man, you know, it's just like, sometimes I'm still walking that line of the reason why I choose to go after the information and not the person is just because oftentimes people don't listen to you when you call out people. You know what I'm saying? Because they're so focused on who the person is and their love for them. And so I don't take that route. However, if I were to say the names that I know for sure of people who are, I mean, when I say top dog in the vegan, I'm not talking about just, a few people. I'm talking about like over 1 million followers. I'm talking about selling products. I'm talking about at all the vegan functions, hosting it, making, millions off of these people. If I were to say their names, y'all would literally like just drop out. You know what I'm saying? Because it is crazy. And the things that they would say was just, well, it's just business.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just business. People with vegan restaurants say, oh, well, I'm not vegan. It's just business. It's hot. It's a market right now. And when I was vegan, when I was purposing to get on and I was going to all the vegan events, like if I told y'all, I'm going to post the documentary I was in so y'all can see the people that I was around and who. If I told y'all these people, it would just really blow your mind because you're looking at them and you're like, oh, they kind of look okay. Well, it's because they're cheating. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They're eating raw eggs and saying they're raw vegan. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the reason why. And so it's really sad because a lot of people are inquiring minds want to know. I'll tell you. I'll tell you. But the thing is that I sit back from dropping certain names because, like I said, first off, I can't reveal my sources because I won't get no more tea. And then second, like I said, people don't listen. People just don't listen to you when you are, even if you have the best intention. So you have to be very strategic on how you approach the information, which is why I just go for the topics and the myths. And you know what I'm saying? I go towards that because it's like at some point, if you debunk the information that they share enough, you then take them off that pedestal.
Right.
And now people are able to say, you know what? That ain't right. You know what I'm saying?
Somebody said no better than drug dealers. Facts. Because you're killing people all in the name of profit. You know, you're damaging people's health. Seriously, you know. Somebody said, after 4 years doing what I've been doing, my personal conclusion is be your own experiment and you will have a better, transparent conclusion. And you know what? That's what we're doing anyway. We're doing that anyway. And eventually people are going to realize that you're just experimenting on yourself and you're going to get the results sooner than later.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Sooner than later. This is all an experiment. And our generation is going to be the research, you know what I mean? Because we're the first generation to be moving at this capacity. We're the first generation where this diet has been marketed to us with such vengeance, you know what I mean? So in about 10 years, we are the guinea pigs, you know what I mean? Everybody's going to be looking back at our stories. And this vegan movement is not going to age well. So, yeah.
Yeah, I remember having a conversation with somebody talking about, and don't laugh at my age, y'all. So I remember when I was, a teenager, and something came on the radio about bottled water, and the host on the radio was like, "Man, that's stupid." They was like, "Nobody's gonna buy no bottled water." They're like, "Man, we've been drinking water for years." I remember that, and now look at the psychology behind bottled water, right?
Yeah.
Who drinks out of the tap? Nobody.
Right.
But that's the power of the corporations and the power of marketing, right?
Yes. Because, I always say, mass communication, what's being communicated to the masses, the media controls the minds, therefore the media controls the masses. So whatever is going to be presented within the media is going to control the minds of the people. And now we have the control with this social media, we have the control to actually control the masses. You know what I mean? Versus back in the day where all you had was TV. You only had what they presented to you, you know? Right. So this was good, but now it's going in the opposite direction, and we're realizing just how powerful this is to lead people in the wrong direction. And what's funny, just like how I said before, it's like you could be in a space where it's like, I want to go vegan, right? So now you're just purging all of the other information out, and you're just following all of these vegan influencers and all of these vegan recipes, and so now you are literally brainwashing yourself into a eating disorder. You know what I mean? And that's the saddest part about it, is that it's self-induced. You know how some people literally just develop an eating disorder? We literally do it to ourselves. And that's why it's so important for us to speak on this, because it's a brainwash.
Yeah, I remember, waking up on Saturdays and, wanting something specific to eat and just going, 11, 12, 1 o'clock without eating. And in my mind, I'm like, I'm doing good. I'm helping myself out because, I'm not eating right now. And it's just like so ridiculous, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
13th Venusian, girl, meet up with me. I gotta have you on this one, because this one's real. Yeah, it's disturbing to see veganism be connected to Black awakening. I'm gathering my material to call out the folks selling these fake fibroid cures.
Okay.
That one just upsets me. Yeah, that's really true.
Yeah,
it's so true.
Yeah.
And who says plant-based diets are literally derailing Black women's endocrine health? Yeah, that's true.
Yes. Yes.
It's really causing infertility too, Black men
Yeah.
and Black women, or you know, melanated people in general. So.
And people are just so embarrassed to speak on those issues. You know what I mean? Like, women are really having serious issues with this diet, okay? And it's not pretty. And, people don't speak on them because they're embarrassed. But if you speak on them, if you can help, you know what I mean? You can help people. And your body, your lady parts don't need to be over alkaline, okay? Like, it just don't.
Right.
You guys gotta check out that. You gotta check out that live I did, and prayerfully, if she is up for it, I'm gonna get Miss Tiffany Townsend, Ipa Somisola, back on, because she is a licensed midwife, y'all.
Okay.
And I had her on. We did a whole Q&A basically on just women's health from the perspective of a midwife. And as you can see in the comments, she's saying their pregnancies are so unhealthy. And she was just saying they're the most unhealthiest pregnancies that she deals with, and how they have to be a scientist in order to make sure they're getting everything. You know what I'm saying?
Are you serious? See, they present it as if it's so good and it's the best thing. Wow.
But you know what too I noticed is that it's a lot of doulas, and I'm not saying this to downplay doulas. I understand the role of a great doula, an experienced, knowledgeable doula. I understand that. However, there are a lot of like online certified doulas who don't have any experience. They're not studying under anybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They just basically took a test online, and now they're saying they're doulas, but they have the rhetoric of veganism, but they have never
listened.
They don't have any experience. They've never studied with anybody. They don't have any teachers or nothing like that.
No.
And they're pushing veganism on their pregnant clients.
Yes. Please do not go to a midwife or a doula who's out here preaching veganism. They don't know nothing. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah, I know I know a doula right now who does that, and she's very popular. I mean, very popular, and she's telling women that their breast milk is dirty. So I mean, words out of her mouth. Couldn't make it up, you know?
That's sick. That is sick.
Yeah. So what we're doing is very important on many levels, because, like, when I went quote unquote vegan, I kind of just slid into it. I didn't really go vegan. It was just a process thing.
Okay.
And there was nobody that I could look to that I could get the other side. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was nobody I could look and say, oh, because I didn't go on YouTube and stuff like that. I wasn't looking for vegan recipes on YouTube. Like, I know how to cook. I just took the meat out and replaced it with like beans and you know what I'm saying? Like protein from plants and stuff like that. So that's what I did. And there was nobody on the other side being like, hey, don't do that. I almost died from that.
Yeah.
You said Miss Auntie Erica Badu.
Okay.
Sorry,
okay.
Okay.
Peace and blessings manifest. Okay.
Celebrity and stuff like that. But she is also an influencer. And the things that she says as a doula is just like, I love Erica Badu's music and everything like that. However, the message is very detrimental.
Yes.
It is very detrimental.
And you can tell she's not vegan anymore. And I feel like, I think when you and I spoke about that, because at first I'm like, well, she don't really, but she definitely plays a huge part. And, our artists, especially in our community, we idolize them so much. So there's so many clips of her going around talking about, oh, yeah, I eat a plant-based diet. Not anymore. Not with them cheeks, girl. You and I plans, like, because when she was vegan, you can really tell that she was vegan. You know what I mean?
You can spot a vegan now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And you can tell she's not vegan. No.
Yeah.
And I do think that she should mention that. You know what I mean? Like, especially seeing that it's moving in the direction that it is, and especially in the conscious community. But I think she understands how it's a marketing play. She probably has a lot of friends that are vegan. But you know what? It was like her hairstylist or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell she's been vegan for like at least 20 years. And it's just, you can just tell in the way that she acts. And it's like, yo, I just wonder how she would act if she has some stability inside of her. You know, she's spiritual, but sometimes the spiritual thing is kind of leaning towards the end of like mental illness. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
you know, so yeah.
Yeah, and I know some people may cringe like when we drop certain names, but y'all have to also understand that, like, first off, I am Priceless. She's the midwife I'm talking about, okay?
Okay.
And she's literally like there for birth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's just like for her to report back and say, hey, the pregnancies that are vegan are just like are the worst ones in the sense that they're the most unhealthiest.
Yeah.
I think we need to take that as serious as we can take that, because that is our community's future.
Facts.
You know what I mean?
Facts.
Oftentimes, like again, I'm a little hesitant sometimes to drop certain names too, but at the same time, like certain stuff has to be said, and we can't be so like, oh, I just wanna, we can't be that way sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes you do need to say a little something and let it be known, because like I said, all these women, I can't tell y'all how many women come in my inbox and are like, yeah, I went to all these sister circles and they're promoting veganism, and these women are pregnant. You know what I mean? And that's just like what, 4 generations, 5 generations, 6 generations that's being impacted in a way that we don't know the full effect of veganism from a child to 25 like that, to 30 like that, and their children. We just don't know that.
And it's like people are like literally experimenting with their children. Like, look, my baby's been vegan since birth. They're like 5 years old. Like, we're not going to really, you know what I mean? Like, we have to wait until they're fully developed to really see it. But now some people, unfortunately, our first live went off with Rolando. He was a vegan, an ex-vegan, and he had a son who was affected by the diet and developed a certain level of autism. And I'm so sad that live got deleted, because it was so important to just show like, yo, like we are damaging our children by not having common sense. You know what I mean? Just common sense. And those first few years of a child's development is so important, especially when it comes to having proper fat in the brain to grow. You know what I mean? And it's like, people will get you with the whole, oh, you're not a baby cow. Why are you drinking cow's milk? And it's like, milk was designed to nourish, regardless if it's coming from a cow or regardless if it's coming from a goat, a camel. You cannot replace milk with almond water. You know what I mean? Like,
no, almond juice.
Almond juice. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just water. Like, nuts don't have boobs, okay? Like, milk comes from boobs, period. Like, we just got to keep it common sense, simple sense. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. True.
Yeah, you're the reason why I did that video the other day, Dice, because it was like, when you commented, I was like, man, you know what? Let me go look and see what they're talking about online. And I found this article that just went in.
Yeah.
And, I never thought about that. You can't, there's no such thing as, nuts that produce milk. It's juice.
No.
Yeah.
It is.
It's fruits.
Nut juice.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like, but you knew that though, it's like everything just starts coming back, but like, it's like, but I knew that. So why would I ever think I can do that? You know what I mean?
I know what it is though.
What is it?
Coconut milk. That's what, see, if you really think about it, so I'm from the islands, right?
Okay.
And so I grew up where my people's making stuff with coconut milk. And so in your mind, you have that where, the color of it looks like milk, and we call it coconut milk. So, that's another way they got a lot of people too, but it still doesn't make sense because it's not milk.
It's not milk.
And you know what too? Soy milk and oat milk and stuff like that originally was just for people with allergies. You know what I mean? With the milk allergen. So it's always been there. But it wasn't common to see the average person drinking soy milk. You know what I mean? Like, I had a little cousin who had an allergy to everything, like milk, eggs, everything when she was younger. So she had to drink the soy milk. You know what I mean? But now it has been just the thing. It's even the thing for non-vegans to get oat milk in their lattes. You know what I mean? It's just cool now. And it's like if you go to somebody's refrigerator and you see a carton of milk, it's like, what is this? The 1990s? You know what I mean? It's like we're not accustomed to seeing it anymore, and it's just brainwashing and programming. And then we have to do another episode just about the replication of animal products with utilizing plants. You know what I mean? Like we are just replicating the cream that we truly desire when we drink milk or when we have cheese or when we have any type of creamy dessert or something like that. We're just replicating the texture, the taste, but we don't actually replicate the nutrients. And that's something that's so important for vegans to understand. You know what I mean?
Or the taste, girl, because that nice cream with them frozen bananas, honey, do not taste like ice cream.
It don't.
Care what y'all
it tastes like a smoothie. It's a nice little smoothie.
No. So someone says, I automatically assume that vegan spiritualists are mentally unstable. I don't know how people are able to receive downloads but can't see physical deterioration. Well, a lot of them just really don't have the fat in their brain. They also have body dysmorphia. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just like they just can't see it because I don't know. I saw it even when I was vegan. I saw it on other people, but I didn't see it on myself. You know? Right. So I just didn't see it personally. So
and you know what's so crazy is I remember seeing it, but I just was like, oh, well, I eat plants, so. And you know, I'm skinny now, but I didn't know I was like, you know what I mean? Looking like a walking corpse. I'm like, wow.
Girl, I had no idea. I scared myself when I showed y'all that reel.
Yeah. Like, oh yeah, I remember seeing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like going back through looking like my thighs was looking like that.
Yeah, it hurts worse later. Trust me, it hurts worse later when you actually rejuvenate yourself and you look back and you're like, wow, I was looking like that. Raw milk was what started to normalize my period and hormones. The babies coming up needs to know what real food is. Yes, they need to know what real food is. And you know what? I'm going to be honest. Like, I truly believe in God and I believe in the series of events. And I think that our generation was just so unnatural. And I personally believe that this vegan movement is actually going to push us back into our natural order because we have no choice but to learn this information now. You know what I mean? We're going back to just the simple basics. You know what I mean? And a part of my research that I was conducting when I went off of the plant-based diet, I was just looking at people who live in more rural areas, and they have a very clear understanding of nutrition because they have to grow their own crops. They have to, you know, herd their own cows, or, you know, they have to kill their own meat. They have to preserve it, so they know what they're using everything for. You know what I mean? And so people who have to actually have survival skills, they have a better understanding of nutrition than the average person living in cities. And that's something we have to talk about too, is just that cities, and it's just the more industrial we become, the more we get away from nature. And I think that we're definitely moving back towards that. And it's going to be people like us who had to deplete ourselves and then rejuvenate ourselves. We're going to be the ones who are going to lead nutrition because the average person don't even really have the proper understanding of nutrition. You know, some people think that it's healthy to eat egg whites. You know what I mean? And stuff like that.
Without the yolk,
Yeah, I was. Go ahead. No, go ahead and read that one. Go ahead. I'll remember. Sure? Yeah, go ahead.
I like that. I'll remember. Okay, can I make a general cue? How did your bodies feel when you went back out of a plant-based diet? Oh, so we answered this one before, but just, I mean, amazing, really. Just like you feel the rush come back to you. You feel your brain literally does feel like it turns back on. For me, it felt like I could see again. Like, it literally felt like I could see for the first time. It was just like a veil being lifted from my eyes.
Oh. That's the feeling I had.
The surge of energy and awareness.
Yeah.
So I was going to say, I was reading an article that deliberately Callie sent me, and it was talking about how, like, the family structure, you know, meat was really like, you know, the main course. And because certain families were certain size or whatever, they added the vegetables as fillers, right? Yeah. It wasn't supposed to be the main course. It wasn't supposed to be how you get nutrients to the body. And they knew that, you know, it was, but now it's like, oh, you know,
and it's like we do that too, though. It's like even being plant-based, you try to replicate the meat product as the main star of the show. You know what I mean? It's like you try to replicate the burger that's still the main shot. You know, that's still the main. That's the Beyonce. You know what I mean? You try to replicate the steak with the mushroom. You try to replicate the chicken with the cauliflower. It's like, no, we know that. We just never really had to make sense of it before. And I think that was the crack that allowed this to kind of flow into us, you know?
Yeah, true story. So I remember doing an Instagram post. I made this big old salad in this bowl, right? And I posted it and I sat down and ate the salad. And when I was done, I was like, man, I'm hungry. You know?
Yes.
And I think I went and like made some fries or got some fries or something. I'm like, man, I'm hungry. I just ate that big old salad and I'm still hungry.
Yes. Somebody said they have elevated famine foods. Yes, this is literally the poor man's diet. Like, this is a poor man's diet. You're eating chickpeas and mushrooms. Yes.
And too, they even have certain things like I don't know if it's in everybody's culture the wording. However, certain foods they'll say like, especially within like, well, I'm Geechee and Cuban, so certain foods they'll be like, this is poor man's food, and it'll be like a bunch of vegetables, potatoes, carrots, soup, and then a few slices of meat. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the rhetoric, and then you go vegan and you're like, they used to call this the poor man's food, but this is really nutrient dense food, and
yeah, you're eating beans and rice.
Yeah, and just like oftentimes they try to go back to Kemet or Egypt and things like that. And I always say, don't believe nobody trying to teach you about something that they cannot read. Yeah, that is like, just don't, okay? And that's on anything. So, but they always try to go back and say, well, they didn't eat a lot of fish and they didn't eat a lot of this and this. And it's like, you gotta understand that there were different classes. And so the people who were wealthy, they did eat a lot of meat. And you can see that where they're buried. The people who didn't, you can literally see that they were not as wealthy. They didn't eat as much meat, and they ate a lot more plant foods. And so people got to understand the different hierarchies, the caste system, the classes that happen within societies. It's not just because you found an Egyptian's tomb, that's what they all were eating. It's not that cut and dry.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I would like to, just thank you both for coming on and for doing this live. At the end of the live, we always like to give some type of message to other people. You know what I mean? Just to what you would like to say. So I would say, what would you like to say to anyone watching this live who may be vegan or maybe considering going vegan or an ex-vegan? What would you want to say to them?
So me first?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I guess I'm the guest, huh?
Yes.
So I want to say, ask questions. Don't be afraid. Don't hold the person, that you think know it all on a high pedestal and think that information is 100%. Ask other people. Get suggestions. Go and read certain things for yourself. Ask for materials that you can read for yourself and use your common sense. Because we're all intelligent. We all have some level of common sense. And if something makes sense to you, it makes sense to you, Yeah. So that's my advice.
Yeah. But the only thing with that is double check your sense, because they'll say stuff like, you're not a baby cow. Why are you drinking cow's milk? And you're like, wow, that does make sense. And it's like, okay, but wait. There's more in depth to that. You know what I mean? So yeah, great advice. And my advice is the same advice. Common sense, you guys. Please understand, veganism is new, and vegans are the minority for a reason. Okay, everybody has to accommodate the vegan for a reason. It's because it's not our natural diet. You know what I mean? Really take a look into the full digestive tract, not just the teeth, because that's what they get. That's where they get you. But make sure that you guys are really, taking the time out to look at the opposite and opposing views. Make sure that you are typing in ex-vegan stories, the downside of veganism. Don't just be looking at it as a rosy-colored glass. From a rosy-colored glass. And yeah.
Well, y'all know what I'm going to say. I'm going to say, before you do anything, you need to find out what your current normal is. You need to be observing and documenting your body so that you can begin to create and connect, have that relationship with your body, have that relationship with your intuition, so that you have a starting normal, no matter what that is, so that when you do begin to implement things, you can see what's working and what's not, and the changes that are happening to you along the way. Oftentimes we don't have that. We just jump into things and we don't have any baseline. It's just like when you go start training for the first time, you do a before picture, you apply your techniques, and then you do an after picture so that you can compare. And that same logic applies to nutrition and just to your overall self-care. So I would say go get my book, link in the bio. I will be having a 3-day chart available for people who want to just like test it out and see what it's like to actually regulate yourself. A lot of us are looking to prevent diseases. A lot of us are looking to just have a better understanding of health. And we can do that by regulating ourselves and getting to find that normal first. So did you want to say something else, Kevin?
No.
Okay. Just want to be sure. So with that, I would like to say thank you, Kevin, for coming on and sharing your story, brother. That was amazing.
Yes.
Thank you all for having me. I appreciate it.
We're gonna keep watching you, Kevin.
Yes. I'm gonna keep in contact with y'all. I got some questions.
Of course. Please do.
Yes.
Y'all have a good night, okay?
I appreciate you for coming on, mommy, and y'all have a wonderful night.
Bye.
All right. Bye.